Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Mukesh's Tech Space. If you are new here, I post video tutorials on AWS, Lightsail, Azure, and other easy to set up and use web hosting tools and services. I also post videos on WordPress tips and tricks mostly for developers. So if you are interested in that type of content, please consider subscribing to my channel and liking all my videos. So AWS Lightsail recently added a CPanel WHM blueprint to their offering that you can use to create a Lightsail instance. CPanel WHM is a web hosting management software. It's used by many of the largest web hosting companies that are out there. It's a great web hosting software tool. I think it's probably the top 2 or top 3 web hosting software. And if you're intending to set up a hosting business where you will host websites for large number of clients or customers, this tool is probably the way to go. It may be a little bit of an overkill for just a couple of websites. However, I wanted to show you how it works and how to set it up in case you wanted to go that route. Now this tutorial will just go through the very high level setup of cPanel and WHM, and we'll use WHM to set up a sample WordPress website. But configuring, securing, and optimizing cPanel and WHM software is a very in-depth process and requires a lot of advanced sysadmin skills. So we won't go into that here, but I just wanted to show you at a very high level, since Lightsail is offering this now as part of their instance creation. I wanted to walk you through this. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so to get started, we'll create a Lightsail instance. Click on App plus OS and you'll see that cPanel and WHM for Linux is available. Select that. It gives you a little message here that says this is a trial software and you need a paid license for continued use of this. So this will, I think they give you a 15-day trial. Yep, 15-day trial. And then when it expires, you'll have to purchase the license directly from cPanel and apply that to this instance. Then go ahead and pick the instance plan and click on Create Instance. Okay, we have our instance set up or ready to go. Let's go ahead and set up a static IP address for the instance. Now we'll go back to the instance management dashboard and we will click on Connect using SSH. On here we'll type in sudo passwd. This will prompt us to set up a new root password. So let's set up a new root password. Confirm that password. And that should be done. Now we will be able to set up cPanel or go into the setup wizard for cPanel. Okay, so next take your static IP, copy that, and then open a new browser tab and type in https:// your IP address, followed by the port that cPanel runs on, and the port is 2087. So type in your IP address :2087 and you'll get to this screen. You'll want to click on Advanced and hit Continue, and that will take you to the WHM login. Let's type in root as the username and the password that we just set up. So click on Login and we'll get prompted to accept the agreement. So read through the entire agreement and either accept or cancel and exit. We'll agree to it here, give it an email address, and then for the name servers, we will keep this blank. cPanel and WHM they have a way where one of their modules is to be able to host your own name server. So mapping your domain names to an IP address and any other kind of DNS record management that you must have seen us do in many of our videos, that kind of setup CPanel can host as well. I personally don't recommend it, mostly because you may need to then create redundancy in your name servers. For example, if your server goes down, then it cannot do any kind of name server conversion or anything for your domain. So you don't want to take that entire thing down. So I would leave this blank, not use this service, and just use your domain registrar's name server or DNS management service. So keep that blank and then click on finish. So we're now logged into the CPanel interface. So next what we're going to do is click on this menu right here and then come down here to change hostname. And then here we'll type in a hostname. So you could use your own domain name. In our scenario, what we'll do is we'll say administration.mukesh.me, and I'll use this domain as a sample to set this up, and then click on change. So while this is happening, we'll need to go into our DNS registrar, or our domain registrar's DNS management, and create a domain administration.mukesh.me entry and point that to our IP address. So let's go ahead and take care of that now. Okay, so I've logged into name.com where I purchased most of my domains. So they have a DNS management interface, and that's where I have come to. And here we'll type in administration.mukesh.me. This is the hostname that we want for our cPanel. We're creating an A-type record, and then we'll type in the IP address for our server. So that's this right here. Copy, and then come here and then paste. And then we'll add that. Now that may take around a few minutes to provision and have propagated. So once that's done, we'll use that to log into cPanel going forward. Okay, so now I'm going to go to administration.mukesh.me, which will take me to the same WHM login screen. Type in root and the password, and we should be logging into our cPanel dashboard. And then the next thing that we will do is set up the site software. So click on the menu item, then scroll down, or in a more easier way, you can just type in the section that you want to go to, and it will do that for us. So go to Site Software. So install cPanel add-ons, Site Software, and then we're going to select this blogs right here, and the category is blogs and the name is WordPress. So this sets up a installation repository and allows us to do one-click installs of software such as WordPress. So let's go ahead and update the cPanel config, and that's going to take a couple of minutes, and we'll install a WordPress repo for us to use to set up one-click installs of WordPress sites. Okay, so that successfully installed right here. Success, the RPM is installed. And so the next step we'll do is, let me show you the cPanel AutoSSL service. So you can type in auto and then click on manage AutoSSL, and you'll notice here that the only AutoSSL provider is cPanel. If you wanted Let's Encrypt to be another service for setting up AutoSSLs, then you can do that with this instance as well. So to set that up, we'll go back to our instance dashboard, connect using SSH. And then we will run this command, the script command. Let's go ahead and sudo su and then run this command, and this will set up Let's Encrypt as a service for AutoSSL generation. Okay, looks like that's finished. We'll minimize that for now, and then we'll come back to WHM, and then let's click on AutoSSL again. And now you'll notice there's Let's Encrypt, and you can then select that. And let me move my camera again, and then we'll need to agree, and then recreate, hit save. And now we have a Let's Encrypt service set up to be the AutoSSL provider. And what that means is that whenever you do set up new websites, new web hosting accounts on this server, all of those will use Let's Encrypt by default to generate the SSL certificates for your domains. Okay, so now the next step is we'll create a web host account, and then we'll install WordPress on it. So I would like to go to create a new account. So click on that. For the domain, we can say web.mukesh.me, just a sample domain. A username, it automatically creates one based on the domain. Password, let's pick a password. Address, and then you can set up individual packages that turn on various services and tools for the web hosting account. For us, we'll just pick default, and then click on automatic detection here, and then here we'll leave those checked, and then we'll say use the name servers at our domain registrars. Remember, we did not set up a name service on this server. We're going to use whatever domain registrar you have. We'll use their name service, and then click create. Okay, now what we need to do is create a new DNS record for web.mukesh.me and point it to that IP address. So we'll go ahead and take care of that. Okay, so we'll type in web.mukesh.me and the same IP address that's up here. Excellent, and we'll give that a few minutes to propagate. So to go to our CPanel for our new web host account that we just created, you can, from this create new account confirmation, you can click on go to CPanel, or you can go and list your accounts. And from here, you can click on the CP. So you'll click on that, and now you're brought to the CPanel management interface for your web host account that we just set up, web.mukesh.me. So what we want to do is set up a WordPress website. So earlier we installed the site software capability. Let me move this up. And that allows us to show us a WordPress manager. So click on that. And then click on new site, and our site's domain will be web.mukesh.me. Click on install, and this is taking care of pulling down WordPress, setting up your database, setting up your necessary PHP configuration, and all of those items automatically with one click. And here it gives us our username and password. So let's copy that and store it in a safe place. Then we'll go back home, and you'll see here that WordPress is installed. You can do various things on here. I think it will even prompt you when there are new releases of WordPress, so you can easily come in here and do a WordPress update. But let's try to visit this new URL, and here we go, my WordPress website. If we go to WP admin, and we'll type in our username and password there. There we go. And paste our password, and now we are logged in. Okay, now we need to generate our Let's Encrypt SSL. So we'll go back to our WHM and where we have our list of accounts. So here we will select SSL, and then we'll come here, manage AutoSSL. Then here we'll come to manage users, and then right here for your host account, make sure enable SSL is selected, and then hit check web Mukesh, which is your host account name, and it will at this point generate an Let's Encrypt certificate and install it for your website. So now let's go back to our CPanel for our account and click on SSL TLS, click on manage SSL sites, and you'll notice here web.mukesh.me, and there's a certificate expiration. And if we look at, click on browse certificates, yep, there we go, web.mukesh.me, it's a Let's Encrypt certificate, and it's 11/4/20 is the expiration date, so it will automatically renew before that date. Now if you do want to use the other SSL provider, that might also be suitable. That's provided by CPanel itself, and those certificates are valid for an entire year, whereas Let's Encrypt are valid only for 90 days and you have to renew 90 days. But with the service that we set up in CPanel, the renewal is automatic, so it really doesn't make any difference unless you just wanted a SSL certificate for an entire year, so you can do that. Now a couple of other things I want to show you before we end this video. I'm going to move my camera out of the way. One of the things I want to show you is how would you upload files into your directory. So you could set up, or as part of your host account setup, it automatically created an FTP server and service. So let's see, where is that? Oh, it did not actually. Okay, so to set up FTP, we need to turn on the service. So let's go back to WHM and let's type in FTP and then click on FTP server selection. And you'll see here that it is disabled by default. So what we want to do is click on Pro FTP, or actually let's click on Pure FTPD, because I was reading the notes here and it says default on CPanel systems and it's ideal for memory constrained systems. So which, you know, our server right now is only 1 GB. So we'll click on Pure FTPD, hit save, and that will go through the process of setting up FTP and enabling it for this server. One more thing that we need to do, however, now that we have our own Lightsail instance, we have to open up the port for FTP. So let's go ahead and come back to the CPanel dashboard, click on networking for our instance, and then let's add the rule for FTP. '21, and then create. So now we have 21 as well. Now if we go back to our CPanel for our web host account, web.mukesh.me, and refresh, we shall now have FTP accounts. So here the default FTP account is created for our host account that we set up, and then if you click on this, this will show you how to what are the parameters to use to connect to your site using FTP to upload files and folders or anything that you need it for. And they give you 2 sample configuration files, one for CyberDuck for the Mac and one Core FTP for Windows. You can check those out, or you can click on instructions and that will show you how to set up an FTP client. So I think that's about it. We've done a simple setup of CPanel. We created a web host account. We installed WordPress. We turned on Let's Encrypt for our AutoSSL service. And then we also set up FTP server. So with these things, you should have a basic CPanel WHM based web host account set up. Again, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is just a simple high-level initial setup. There are a lot of configuration options, security options, and other advanced optimizations that you should do to your CPanel setup. Again, those are things that we won't be covering on this channel because I'm just not very familiar with CPanel. But if you are interested, you could probably Google or search on YouTube for various tutorials on setting up CPanel. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Provide any questions in the comments and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Share this video out to others that might find it useful as well. And until the next video, take care.